So then began my first real company. In 1999, I started just a technology group, then called Novellant Technologies. And I wandered around with my drawings and my presentations trying to get people to spend money on me, and found that was a pretty hard way to make money. On the other hand, when someone would look at something, they would always argue about your patent royalty. But if you were selling the whole product, all they would do is compare you to someone else, what the price was compared to your competitor's price. So I partnered up with a manufacturer and learned to sell products instead of royalties. And we grew over a span of about 8 years to 50 employees. We were kind of employee low, and we were doing almost $50 million by the end when I sold the company to a Dutch group called Dockwise. Our little niche in the offshore market was installation of offshore platforms and the equipment you need for that, and this company wanted to get into it. So I had finally made my mark, right? I had done the thing everybody wants to do, is you made a big sale to the perfect buyer, and I had also kind of diversified a little bit and started other companies on the side. So here we're going to take a little aside and go back to the money thing. During all this period of time, I always compared myself to my best friend. He did everything right in life. He went to Brown undergrad, went to Harvard Law School, went to one of the big national law firms. And there we have his financial life. And this is kind of the trade-off you make as an entrepreneur, I think, most entrepreneurs. He got the easy life. Not saying he didn't work hard, but outside of a little slump during law school where he didn't make much money, and when he decided to have children, his wife decided to have children, and he moved from a firm to a corporation, his has been a nice steady rise every year with actual cash coming in. On the other hand, I chose my different route. We're not done yet. But I have a little curve here. It's not completely crazy at that point, and it looks like it's heading in the right direction. Unfortunately, if you see the year that I sold, it's 2008. So 2007, 2008 is what we're heading into. And so, there's something put wrong here. And there's when I sold my company. So I had made it. I had proven that my way was the right way to do it. I went and sought the best financial advice there could be, and they gave me these magic thirds formula where you take 1/3 of your money in cash, and you take 1/3 of your money in index funds, and you take 1/3 of your money and you do something a little bit risky with it. And not being averse to risk, and I also had a job with a salary for the first time in forever. But being an entrepreneur, what did I do with that money? I stuck it back in to different businesses and things like that. I had kind of the Elon Musk SpaceX thing. I wanted to make my own moonshots, So I'd made a lot of money, but I wasn't quite there where I could buy my own rocket. So deciding to try, I ended up in the first year with a small net negative, not a big deal. And second year, I was still investing in my companies. And then here's where we unfortunately reached 2009. And so my next big bang in the industry was 2009. I had the joy of having a single day where I lost $9 million, which didn't break the bank, luckily. and I managed to keep all of my companies going through the down cycle. So depending on how you look at it, you're just restaging yourself for your next comeback, right? And in 2010, I made a little bit of money. My companies were doing all right. But 2011, the banking situation still wasn't very good, so we had another bad year. And finally, 2008, I sold another company. So we're making it back in the right direction. You notice it's not quite as big an error as the first one, but they're going okay. But now if we compare our trend lines between my best friend and me, it no longer looks quite as good. And where do we go from here? Is it tipping down, or are we going back up again? So this is where it comes, that the greatest lesson I have learned from this is that if it's just about money, dear God, don't do this. Because it comes and it goes. And you have to be ready to put it there. You have to be a risk taker. And my wife would call me a gambler and send me to some kind of a 12-step program. But ultimately, we've kept a roof over our heads, and we've done pretty well. So going back to my story now, this is where the first disaster hit. Was I sold my company to one called DocWise, and had the first 3 years in my adult life where I had a boss. We merged and we went public on the Oslo exchange. Lord knows I went on the Norwegian exchange. And I bought in, or they bought my company at a share price of just under $5. And me, being a risk taker, seeing what we could do with this company, we took it in 3 years. I was a chief technology officer, but my real business was chasing new business ventures, mostly internationally, in China, Latin America. And I had extreme confidence we were going to be successful. And as a matter of fact, we were. We went from $180 million to $530 million in 2.5 years. I was the biggest individual shareholder in the company. Everything was great. However, strangely enough, our share price went from $5 to 60 cents. And what I found was the chief executive officer and the chief financial officer, who I did get fired, had undisclosed time bombs in our financing, where our banks got to play with our stock and try to force us into a situation where they owned us. And so we had this wild fluctuation in the stock. And so in the end, I decided I'm going back on my own. So I made it to 3 years barely. They had to pay me an extra bonus to stay just to the end of my contract.